I think I did a video like this previously, but just in case I didn't, I want to hit on this again. Fear and violence is a serious crime instigated by ACC Crown and Government officials. ACC is instigated to discredit, to control a victim. Now, they will do this to any victim. It doesn't matter if you've got no criminal or violent history of any kind. Fear and violence is what is used to control the outcome, usually when they've stuffed up your injuries, or usually when they've been caught criminally compromising you. And then as their only form of defence, they go on the attack. Now, this is the part I want to outline. You, as a victim, will have to retaliate at all times. If you don't retaliate, then you have to react. If you react, they've got control. If you don't react, they still have control. They'll just manufacture it anyway. The whole point of this is being that this then puts you under distress and trauma. This literally singles you out, isolates you, alienates you, denies you access to all your privacy rights, official information acts requests, access to meetings. It then, when you go in to see a doctor or you go in to see a specialist, you're looked upon with suspicion at all times. You go into a Crown and Government department, you're looked upon with suspicion at all times, because they spread this disease and lie right through all the departments. Iceberg Tragedy is a prime example of how they bring fear and violence to your house, to your family, to your children. And it's all part and parcel looking for a reaction because they're desperate. But nobody polices this abuse of power. Nobody polices the criminal intent and the intimidation behind their actions and the provocations behind their actions. You complain about it, it goes nowhere. There's no prosecutions because the Crown Law Office is as corrupt as the day is long, and all they have to say is, oh, there's no crime to answer for, blah, blah, blah. So they act as judge, jury, and executioners without anybody ever being accountable or answerable. It's also to save the Crown and the government as much money as they possibly can save, and to get away with the crimes. And in doing so, they're then turning their victim's life not into a rehabilitation status, but that of a slave trade action, prisoner, hostage, captive. Now you can argue, oh, you can leave the country anytime you like. That's what the government wants you to do. They want you to leave and accept the BS that they're giving you, but they still want ownership of your life. But they don't want to give you a lifetime medical certificate. They don't want to assist you in moving to get medical treatment needs elsewhere. They don't want to basically overstep what they give you in this country. So they literally use it to control you all the way through. It's slavery, people, and it's Nazism. It's starving you to death. And there's no intentions of restoring your life back to its former being. The only intention is to kill you. And in doing so, they want you to kill somebody else or maim somebody else. And in doing so, they have complete control. So it's all about control and ownership. And it's all done corruptly and criminally. There's no honesty. There's no civility. There's no kindness. There's no empathy. There's no help, assistance, support, or protection. There is no rights for you as the victim. Rights are something you think you have, but you don't have. Because they take them all away using fear and violence that they instigate, which controls everything in your life. And there's no getting away with it from it, unless you're out of their controls, which is why I entered their agreement in 2006. After Jan White stated ACC can never be involved in the management of your claim again. Well, that's an admission of unfit for purpose. And then that all changed within a matter of days. And then they went on their malicious criminal prosecution rant, after telling me I had nothing to answer for before that. So they use what suits their purpose. and they implement what suits their purpose, and they suppress you as a human being and your goodness of being a human being. They don't want you to be good. You have to be seen as a villain at all times, and that's how it works. Anyway, you touched on that. You all sort of get the message, but you don't understand the impact it has on anybody's life. And you don't understand how fear and violence works. It's like a gang of hyenas in a jungle attacking one lion. You turn around, they bite you. The only thing they're hell-bent on doing is destroying your entire health and well-being, and wearing you down till you have nothing left, and pricing you out of house and home, pricing you out of justice and accountability, pricing you out of medical and treatment needs. This is one of the biggest criminal enterprises of New Zealand, and it's Nazism that anybody could ever implement. So I will defend myself vigorously in a court of law over an alleged threat to kill the Prime Minister. Because the only people who are killing anybody here and not being charged with it is the leaders of this country, who are slave trading bastards, who are Nazism through and through, and who rob and steal and pillage and plunder from their victims in every way known to man. They sell your life into slavery, and then they don't protect it. They're not restoring your life to the best it can be. They're murdering you. And they're only doing it because you're just a product on a shelf, and they can do whatever they like with you. The New Zealand government is run by terrorists. And all of their staff and management and all the rest of it, they're nothing but suicide bombers. Judges, ombudsmen, crown lawyers. They're the equivalent of suicide bombers in victims' lives. They're medical professionals in New Zealand. When they're paid by government to do a botched job on a victim's life, they're suicide bombers too. They're glorified drug dealers. They'll turn you into a lab rat, honestly. That's what they're like in this country. And it's also the government can control your entire life and fate. They all work together, people. I used to think doctors were there to help you and literally look after your health and well-being. They're not. They're there to kill you on behalf of the government. Well, that's what they're like in New Zealand. I wouldn't say they're like that in Ireland. You know what I mean? I had nothing but kind, caring doctors until I came to this Nazi-run country, and they done this to my life.